Next is the good of the cause and committee and organization reports. Anyone have anything? Let's start with the high school, which is much more interesting than anything else we have to say.
So after we came back from break, I think for the seniors it hurt us the most because we got our first dose of senioritis. Not a lot of us looked at our backpacks for that week, but a lot of us seniors at least have tried to finish our college applications before Thanksgiving. So we should be getting our decisions latest by March. As far as what's going on in the high school, as Dr. Valesky stated, the Odyssey will be on the weekend, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I just want to give a special shout out to Mr. Davis, who's the head of the drama department. And as far as I've been told, this is one of the hardest productions that they've put on since the last few that they've had. So we just like to wish them good luck. National Honor Society is trying to push for a battle of the boards, bulletin boards, where the clubs decorate each of their bulletin boards throughout the high school, and then I guess like the school picks which one they like the best, and that club gets some kind of prize. So that's an ongoing thing that we're trying to get ready for. And yesterday, we had to take a precautionary measure and evacuate the high school. And I think as a student, I got to see how organized and how well built the system is in the school, because the security team was all on their feet, like the teachers, the administrators, like everyone was just go, 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 go. And it was all because of like our practices with the fire drills that we've been conducting throughout the year. So I think, and even as students, not a lot of us students usually like to take the fire drills very seriously. But I think during this evacuation, we got to see a lot of like, the students were also taking this very seriously, keeping their phones inside, trying to make sure like, like our school is safe. So on behalf of all the high school students, we'd just like to thank the administrators, staff, security team, anyone and everyone in the high school that just helped us evacuate out of the building into safety.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks. Anyone else? Committee, organization, go to the cause? Mrs. Chu.
Just want to add a comment to remind everyone, in addition to all the reminders that Dr. Valesky already sent out, to please respond to the calendar survey. It's really important for us to get a good response rate for that. And there's absolutely no reason we shouldn't get 100%. And that'll give us really good data in order to move forward, recognizing that we have a very diverse community here, and we want to understand the needs of both the staff as well as the parents. I don't get to take the survey because I no longer have students in the community, but I've heard that it's short, 4 minutes, so it should go by really quickly. So thank you, everybody.
It's been 1 day since it came out,
30%.
and 30% of the thousands of folks that have gotten it have already responded.
Right.
No reason we shouldn't get 100%.
We should be
How long do they
darned
have
close.
to respond?
It's going to be open for a couple of weeks, and
Oh, it will?
I have
Oh,
the
wow.
ability to call until that last person completes
I'm sure you do.
their survey.
Say names
Yeah.
in the meeting.
I can just keep calling every night. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
one
get
other
text
thing is-
messages,
Yeah.
emails,
There
phone
are a few
calls. It's
exceptions where
good.
folks said they didn't get the messages or they didn't get the email with the survey, and if that's the case,
Right.
call central office.
Call my office, talk to my staff. Either Karen or Kim in the office will take the information and will research if the email is correct first in Genesis, and if it is, we can push that survey out and get that corrected.
Okay. Any other good of the cause? Or Mrs. Shaw?
It's been such a busy week, hasn't it, Mr. Figueroa? Anyway, on Monday evening, we had our first Student Services Committee meeting, and I was absolutely astounded when I walked into the room and saw that seats were set up for probably about 40 to 50 people, and I thought, what are they thinking? But anyway, by 7 p.m., not only were all of those chairs filled, but we were taking additional chairs from the back of the room to set them up. We have a number of teachers and other instructional staff on the committee, but we are very well represented by parents from all different parts of East Brunswick, so their kids are attending different types of programs. Anyway, it was just an incredible sight, and everybody seemed so happy to be there. In conjunction with Mr. Figueroa, we heard some reports from Dina Perello, who runs a program from Monroe Township called Special Strides Equus Learning Program. It was telling us not only about HIPAA therapy, where disabled students can use horseback riding to aid in physical therapy and occupational therapy, but they also are able to do some behavioral training through working with the horses and teaching the kids how to handle them and follow different directions. It was a fascinating program. It is something that we can make a determination at any time that we may want to go into a partnership with them. So actually, we need to rely on our special education department to help us make that determination. We also had some highlights of best practices. There we are hearing that terminology one more time. We had some innovative special education programs discussed and demonstrated for us, all the way from preschool programs up through the programs in the high school. So fascinating and interesting, and also keeping our kids motivated. We heard from Shannon Campbell about our Middlesex County College Pathways program, giving us some updates on that. And we also had some updates on the senior seminar, as well as the Sources of Strength program. So a very good evening, and like I say, was so grateful to hear from so many people in the community about these programs. Yesterday, I attended the Garden State Coalition of Schools meeting here in East Brunswick, and we were fortunate to have Mark Beardron, who is the State Board of Education president. He listened to a good amount of discussion from the members of the Garden State regarding charter school regulations, teacher training regulations, standardized testing and graduation requirements, as well as interdistrict school choice programs. Mr. Beardron reviewed the new mission statement that they are in the process of drafting for the state BOE. It is focusing much more on a well-rounded learning program for students, including what they called 21st century skills that include communication, social-emotional learning, broader academic subject learning, and also being civics ready. President Beardron believes that currently there is too much emphasis just on math and language arts. Finally, we discussed very briefly some news from the Commissioner's office that changes are being considered in the caps on superintendent salaries. I'm sure that you can look up in your newspaper what the details are of that. However, I will let you know that hearings will be held in public in early 2017. So this isn't something that's going to be in place by January or February. It's going to be a months-long process of getting the public input. And of course, the State Board of Education would have to approve of those regulations. So once again, it proves to me that it's kind of interesting in New Jersey that many of the parameters or the framework for education come from the legislature. But we also have certain things that are just issued from the top by the governor. We also have things that are issued from the top by the Commissioner of Education. And then we also have a State Board of Education that often must carry out these laws or decisions that are made by these various groups. So it's kind of hard, for us to get a really cohesive picture of what our activism and advocacy really ought to be. but you can kind of count on the fact that Garden State Coalition of Schools will likely be on top of the situation and discussing these issues.
Thanks, Mrs. Shaw.
Sure.
Anyone else? Mrs. Lax.
I just wanted to quickly, if you'll indulge me, be a parent for a second and say American Education Week was such a treat. It always is, and you hear about, oh, I'm just cheering. You hear about all of the work you're doing with these teachers, and it really shows, but I have to say I finally, as a parent, I'm very proud, I finally embarrassed my child because I sat there in her French class with Madame Ferreira like a giddy little kid, smiling. She said, "Why are you smiling so much?" So I just want to say that if any child gets to take French in Hammersholt with Madame Ferreira, I would go back. And this could be a fundraiser because it's cheaper than therapy. It was happy. I've never experienced something so upbeat and so happy. So I just wanted to say that. To all the teachers, they all did a wonderful job, but I just had to mention that because I did finally embarrass her by smiling.
It's because they have good teacher
job.
leaders.
Absolutely. Phenomenal teacher leaders. You're doing something so
I
wonderful.
learned that term today. See?
I'm telling you, I'm like a groupie. I want to go back.
Anyone else? Well, we have a need for closed session, so may I have a motion to go into closed session for the following matters: EBEA and EBPSA contract matters and employee matters. And our closed session is estimated to be 45 minutes, after which we may reconvene into open session to take action. Motion by Dr. Cohen, second by Mrs. Reese. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good night, everyone.